Grossi Posse Packet Nation, welcome to the weekly drive with Grossi and 25. That's right. Catchy new name. And it rhymes thanks to good old Ryan Fish. Ryan Fish, reach out to me. Touch faith. We got a ball for you.
Great name, brother.
That was a good game. That was a good game. Good name. Good everything. Good everything.
Good name. Good name for a great game. We're like that.
There you go. Good name for a great game. That's what I like to see. Of course, I am Tom Grossi and joined by my illustrious co-host, the one and only Ryan Grant.
Illustrious. I like that. Yeah, let's keep that.
Illustrious? Okay.
I'll be illustrious.
Okay, illustrious. Okay. All right. I was wondering if that would fly, and I think it went well. I think it went okay.
Yeah, no, it did. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mr. Ryan Grant. Well, we're back to our winning ways.
We are.
We spent a lot of last episode talking about all the overreactions to past Sunday's game.
Yes.
We were basically telling people, simmer down now. Simmer down now.
Simmer down now. Simmer down now.
It's going to be all right. And look at that. It doesn't matter. No Aaron Jones, no Kevin King, no David Bakhtiari, no Darnell Savage.
David didn't play,
Yep. None of that. No Tyler Lancaster, no Tyler Swervin Irvin, none of that.
It was it was basically, it wasn't even the pack. It was CK.
That's it. They were missing the whole
and they still came out and did their thing.
And they took care of business. 35-20, knocking off the Houston Texans, and it wasn't that close of a game. It wasn't. They started coming back a tiny bit at the end, and we were like, no, stop that.
They dominated. Did you see the post-game interviews of the Texans?
Oh, yes, like JJ Watt. Didn't one of the guys put his house up for sale? They weren't having it. They were done. They were done.
That means you feel like you got whooped. That is whoop city when you respond like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know part of it is probably because they probably felt like they played but no, yes. When you don't want to even entertain the questions of the other people, like don't ask me about anything of the other team, but yes, that's
so trade rumors have been flying. And of course, my DMs are overflowing with rumors of JJ Watt going to Green Bay. Now, listen, it would be a really nice story. I love JJ Watt.
It would, absolutely. It would be.
He's
a
stand-up guy. He's a great football player.
Yes.
That being said, I don't see any chance on earth that this is happening. I mean, again, like he is in the twilight of his career. He still would cost a pretty penny, and we'd have to trade for him too.
Yeah.
I would love him, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, there's a reason why I was a player. I don't get in that front office stuff. So I have no idea how that would happen or how it would work. But yes, it was one of those like, in a fantasy, it would be heaven sent if it happened. Wonderful, feel good story. But whatever.
I get that. I've been getting a lot of that. All the teams that are panicking, right? The ones of like the Falcons, there was rumors of them getting rid of Julio Jones. So then my inbox was full of that. I'm like, you know how much Julio Jones is paid, right? Like we're going to have trouble.
Yeah, I don't think people understand what that looks like. And like absolutely in the future, we're going to have trouble because guys are performing. Yep. You're going to have trouble when it comes, and rightfully so. This is what happens. I did see, there was another situation where somebody said something and I was like, oh, no.
Not so much.
Eli Apple just got released.
Yep, he got released. I'm okay with our corners.
No, I actually feel, I know they're going to try and, they might look at some guys, the pack wide receiver wise, and honestly, I think it's just because for health purposes. Yeah. Making sure guys are ready to go, but no.
Last night they were Seth Roberts. He was released, so they signed him.
Gotcha.
To the practice squad. So again, it's practice squad. I'm not necessarily like, oh man, but it's a veteran wide receiver, and again, if there's injuries or, guys.
That practice squad opportunity is phenomenal for guys though, for vets who are looking to see if a team works for them. And it's a phenomenal opportunity to be able to get signed and not feel like immediately you have to go in there and perform. It's brilliant.
No, that's got to work out. And just looking from this past week And breaking it down, Rodgers over 250 yards, 4 touchdowns. The man, the myth, the legend. We'll talk about Rodgers in a second. Williams, who obviously with Jones out, he was able to lead the charge, 77 yards on the ground, had that TD, had the head rocking moment. I love that man. AJ Dillon even got involved, but only 5 for 11. So he was
only 5.
He's like, oh no. Listen, I saw that man's calves on my TV and I knew immediately. I didn't even need to see the jersey. And I was like, that's AJ Dillon right there. That was an easy one.
Bro, I think I saw a picture of him on Instagram or something, and I was like, holy shit.
That man's got some calves. That man's got whole baby cows attached to his legs. Yeah. Like that's what that is. And of course, you and I were just talking about this before the show. The star of the day, Davante frickin' Adams, man. 13, 196, 2 touchdowns.
Technical with it.
You know, I'm going to say something a little controversial here. I think Davante Adams might be a good player, Ryan.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He is possibly a solid player.
Yeah. You know, and I don't want to go over the moon there, but
yeah, you don't want to. Let's not shoot too crazy, but no, he's methodical with how he's. It is surgical. I was saying that it was very much coaching tape and teaching tape with how when you watch his routes, his presence, body control off the line it is, you know, and I've seen there's so many stuff around him being the best route runner and off the line in the league. And it's like, wow, what he does is, I don't actually know how you can cover him one-on-one. Yeah. Like he's like almost, I don't know. It's almost uncoverable. So it's one of those things. It's like, damn, I see why Aaron might try to force it.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I get it now. Okay. Yeah.
Because 10 times out of 11, he's going to be open. Chances are he's going to be open, you know, especially if they're running any sort of man. You know, if they run single coverage on him, it's
not going to end well.
It doesn't end well. And he makes plays, man. I think it's great though, but I love it because you know what? He just opens everything up for the rest of those guys to really step up. Yep. Like just off of his performance and that they have to, game plan so much around where he's at that it's like, dudes, you're going to get opportunities just off of that, off of numbers. So
because they're going to pay so much attention to Davante.
I love, he's top tier. So immediately he makes that team better. We're glad to have him back. We're glad to have him in a space where the two of them are rocking, Aaron and Davante. So I'm always going to take them.
Oh yeah. And it opened up the door for 2 guys to get their first TDs of the season. And of course, that's Malik Taylor. My man got 1 TD. But of course, Patcast's own Jay Sternberger, my boy, getting that TD. My boy.
There you go, Jay.
Green was going nuts.
I know, man.
My boy. That's it. I actually meant to DM him and I didn't. But
I expect big things from him in the future.
I'm hoping.
I think he's gonna develop into one of those guys there. The league is gonna be like, oh.
The Grossi posse was in full force behind Mr. Jay Sternberger on Sunday. He caught that ball and we were like, the whole stream, all 2,000 people were going nuts. It was
How many people have scored touchdowns this season for the Packers?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean,
a lot of different people.
I'm just gonna go off of my head here. So Sternberger, Tanyan, Mercedes Lewis has scored 1. So all 3 through all 3 tight ends, right? Then you start looking at wide receivers.
Almost every wide receiver, I believe, has scored.
Lazard, Taylor, MVS has definitely caught 1. Obviously, Davante. EQ hasn't.
Okay.
Equanimeous St. Brown has not. But that's 4. Williams has caught 1, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron Jones has definitely caught 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't even know.
It's a lot.
You just counted it and don't know how many you counted.
No, I have no idea. Listen. Math is you know what? A lot.
a lot. No, but that's what you want.
At least 10. I want to say at least 10.
They're spreading that ball around, so we that's what we like to see. We like to see ball distribution.
And all about it. And I think, you know, the other story becomes looking at the defense. The defense did a nice job. They shut out the Texans in the first half, so that was really good. Kamal Martin came back off IR. He had 6 tackles and 1 for a loss. So big things expected for him. He looked great in training camp. Alan Lazard can come off IR after, I believe. I want to say he can cut. He's eligible now. I don't know if he's ready, but I know he can potentially.
Has it been 3 games?
If I'm not mistaken, it's been 3. It might be 1 more.
No, I think it's 1 more because he went in.
The Saints game was the last game he played.
Yeah, so he went in on the bye week. The bye week was after.
He didn't play for the Falcons. So it was the Falcons, then it was the bye week, then it was the Bucs. Yeah, there was the Bucs and then the Texans. Wow.
He didn't play. Whoa, man! All right, season goes fast. You're right.
That's it. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Yes. And they had 3 sacks for the Packers. It wasn't too bad. Watson was hurried a little bit, but the star on that defense, Preston Smith got his mojo back, which was really good.
There you go. We're good. Yeah, I saw that.
The star, Jair freaking Alexander. Holy crap. When he covered Will Fuller, was targeted 3 times. A big fat goose egg again.
And I'll be honest. I'm a little upset that Will goosed it because he's a Notre Dame guy. So I got to give. I like Will. I think he's a real deal. But he didn't get it done against Jair. Jair just locked him down.
And that's like the 3rd week in a row that he's shut down.
Yeah, what do you mean? He is actually performing. I believe at an all-pro level right now. And what he's been able to do against, and he's not calling him out, but he's just handling business against the top guys.
Yep.
Making plays. Clearly, he's in a groove, and I want him to stay in this flow state. I'm looking forward to seeing how he. I wonder what they're gonna do. They need to put him on that young guy in Minnesota. Anyway.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
Jefferson. I mean, listen, they wound up. Fuller got 3 receptions, but that was only when Jair wasn't covering him. So it was, and again, no Kevin King, so that secondary was a little damaged a little bit, and no Savage too. So we were missing some key people there. Raven Green was able to come back. He made an impact early on.
I saw what happened with Savage. What was the situation with with King?
King, he has a lingering injury. I thought he was good to go last week, and he was close. And they're like, "Oh, okay," but I guess it's kind of just a nagging injury, unfortunately. Kind of been unfortunately the story for a while for Kevin King. So
which is one of the things you need to look and be mindful of, those nagging injuries, because nagging injuries happen throughout the season. Sure. But if it's a nagging injury that you can't work through, that's potentially something to look at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's I want to keep an eye on that and his performance when he does come back, because if it's nagging, it might continue to be nagging. And if he can't perform through it, it's let's see what it is. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a big year for him too. It's a contract year.
Absolutely. I remember that. He does need to, he needs to be out on the field.
Yeah. The one heartbreaking thing, and it was good, but it was heartbreaking. The, most productive wide receiver for the Houston Texans this past Sunday was my boy Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw that. 95
yards, 8 receptions, and every single time he caught the ball, my heart fluttered a little bit. I miss him. I miss my Cobb so much, but I'm happy to see him at least do well, because he seems like a stand-up guy.
No, he is. Cobb's phenomenal. And it's so interesting to look at how, and he's a vet. He's the old man now out there. So to see him in that role, it's just phenomenal. He's a high character type of guy, individual, does things the right way. You can't, honestly, he's like Jamal Williams, just from a different personality. Yeah. He's one of those guys you want him to do well. You loved how he handled business in Green Bay, on the field, off the field. I wish he was able to be in a better situation. Come home. Yeah,
it says, listen, that's an ET call home. That's it. Just
come home. Whatever that means. Yeah. Come back to Green Bay.
The image that always sticks with me was his last game. And they snapped a picture of him with tears in his eyes, hugging Aaron on the sideline. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts.
I don't think he hasn't beaten Green Bay since he's left, right?
Oh no.
No. Yeah.
I mean, because you're on the Cowboys and then the Texans. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
trust me, it'd be a little different if he was getting the dub.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, oh yeah, I miss you guys, love you guys. Okay, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
like,
no, thank you. Now he's just like, do you think you can talk to coach? Like, do you think you could get something worked out? The other thing that was kind of, before we move on to the Vikings game, the thing I was making headlines last week, because of course it was. So Aaron Rodgers had a press conference. I don't know if you saw this. He had a press conference with like the beat reporters, with what have you.
Yeah.
And it was described as like a feisty exchange. And Rodgers went on McAfee today and was talking about this and was basically saying that they asked some of the worst questions that he's ever gotten in his career. And it was basically like right off the gate, it was like, hey, listen, the offense sucks. You know, they figured you out. What are you going to do? And how do you feel about it? So that kind of like set the tone. And then you have guys like Rob Domofsky coming up and he's like, are you okay, Aaron? You seem like you're in a bad mood. And like that just like set him off. So wow. I like, why do they ask such dumb questions? Like, Ryan Grant, can you explain it to me? I know you're not media.
Listen, I like Rob. And for the most part, I've had a decent relationship with most of the beat writers, except for one who shall remain nameless.
Ooh, Aaron Nagler.
And they have a job, and a lot of times their narrative, they already have a narrative, and it's already written basically what they want.
They just got to fill in a quote.
Exactly, they're just filling in things for what they want to get across. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that we live in a day and age where being consistent is not really entertaining.
Ooh, I like that.
And being consistent in thought, being consistent in your temperament, being consistent in emotion, like how you are. And, you know, and Aaron's somewhat stoic. And so it's like picking, but in the same breath, it's like that becomes so annoying and so ridiculous that you're trying to pick. It's like, yo, just stop. Like, it's foolish. Like, we see what you're doing. So saying like, oh, the offense is terrible. And like, what are we talking about here? Like, yes, we played a terrible game. And I don't think that at this point in time in Aaron's career, he's not going to acknowledge when they play bad. Sure. Like, whatever it may be, it is what it is. Like, we got whooped. And yes, it's an anomaly. We believe it's an anomaly based upon what the product we've put through. It's just like, I think that they're looking for anything that will, and I don't want to say like clickbait stuff, that will bring attention to and fire up. You know, we used to call it bulletin board material. And it's not necessarily, it's when I say that, it's not always about the other team. Like, people are just even in the notion of like, because guess what? Most media writers, when you win, what are they talking about? Not as much. Like, you know, everybody knows that like quote unquote negative attention brings way more attention than it does just the consistency of winning. And people are bored with that. They want to stay in, as much as we live in this place, a state of sports are entertaining and the idolization around it. And it's like, yes, we look to, you know, sports athletes in many ways, and they take us away from our own, you know, what's going on. And, you know, this is why during like wars and recessions, sports do really well, because it's an outlet. In the same breath, we want as the writers and the people in platforms that have to, you know, the media in general, a lot of times they're doing whatever they can to stir or to like create some sort of like, well, no, well, give me that. There's got to be something. It's just because honestly, they're bored. Like, they're actually bored with what the consistency of like, no, this is what
they scored another 3 touchdowns.
We're methodical in the sense that like, yo, you know what? Yeah, we come to work. And it's funny. I remember I used to have with Jason, and we used to always laugh because I used to give them somewhat like not generic answers, but yeah, it was like at the end of the day, like the fact of the matter is I know you want me to be like, we're winning games. And they would want me to, it would almost like seem like they wanted me to be like, oh, we know you're frustrated. Like, you're not really running the ball as much. And I'm like, and I was like, yeah, we won. I was like, the most important thing, like, I want to win. Yeah. So like, yes, everybody personally wants to everyone that plays in the NFL wants to personally do well. Every single person. Sure. That's how they got to playing. And I was like, every single person. I was like, but there are people who would rather win the game and perform well, or win the game, and recognize that, like, cool, if I perform well, I have a potential to do that. But they don't prioritize performing well over winning. Or it's like, you can't. And some writers look for that. They look to find where personal gripes are. When it's like, no, this is a team sport. Like, yes, people can voice their personal gripes, but if you're looking to find aspects and poking at holes and little things to do that, it's just like, get out of your own stuff, man. I'm not a fan of that by any means. So yeah, the writers that do that, it's like, yo, these dudes are pro. Like, they know. You can just look at them and be like, yeah, we know this is terrible. We had a game, and I don't want to speak. We had one game where we got whooped so bad. After the game, Mike said, we're not even going to talk about this fucking game. No, literally. That's what he said. Yeah. Because it was so bad that it was like, we're not even going to give energy. Like, we're going to study film, but we're not even going to give energy to this right now. Because no one can say anything but this was trash. So if there's anyone that wants to give any, it's like, no. We're not going to talk about this shit. Yeah, everybody knows what the hell happened, which was an asshole. And then we move forward. And then sometimes it's like, yeah, that's what it was. You address it. Trust me, they're going to address it in film because they're pros, blah, blah, blah. Don't come on now. All the other BS. So I don't know if that answered any question, but because I didn't say anything.
I don't know either, but it was entertaining as hell. So like,
there you go. See, there you go. So you're good. Exactly.
I was going to sit back and just let it happen. Like, we were just
gonna but I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of when they ask like ridiculous questions, but
like just like dumbass leading questions that are projecting their personal thoughts on their article on you.
Yeah, where it's like, well, wait a minute, what answer are you looking for? Because I give you an answer and that's not enough. What are you looking for here?
On a scale of 1 to 2, how much do you hate your team? Wait, what? Come again? A 2. Oh, so you're very frustrated. I get that. Yeah, I feel like it's also changed. So, not to make this a personal gripe session. So there is a current beat reporter who will remain nameless. So like the channel has been doing very well.
How many syllables does his name have?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, a good amount. All right, so I'm losing count again. And basically, a fan sent me their response. So basically, they were asking about, like where you get like your Packers news and stuff like that. And a lot of people were saying me. And I didn't know because like literally a fan sent this to me. And this beat reporter could not understand why someone would look to me for Packers news if I'm not in the locker room and like talking to the team and what have you. And like it flabbergasted me. And I'm looking over here and I'm like, this season alone, just for the past 2 months, over 4 million people have literally watched my stuff. And that's a humble flex. But I'm like, if they're not watching you, that's a reflection on you.
It has nothing to do with actually. Yeah, what?
So that like grinded my gears.
He should have said, wow, I need to watch Tom and see why they would do this. Because if they're watching, clearly there's something that he's bringing to the table. Yeah, I don't know.
They don't got Ryan Grant. Let's just say that much.
No.
So,
well, that is true.
That's the
I will say though that Jason Wild is phenomenal.
Oh, will he?
Yeah, well, yeah. I've always called him Wild.
Yeah.
He is my favorite, and the reason why, and he knows this to the day, he's actually the reason that I got paid. He is a direct catalyst for me actually getting paid.
How the hell did that happen? Did he just like call up Mike and he was like, hey?
No, I'll give a quick little story. He, when I was holding out, the Packers gave me an offer and it was trash. And they sent an offer to me and it was literally garbage. And my agent said, I'm going to be honest with you, this is so disrespectful. And I don't know. Actually, he said to me, I don't know when you're going to go back based upon this. Like, I don't actually know. And he ended up sending it to Jason, sending the offer or sending, I don't know if he sent the specific offer to Jason, but I know somehow Jason got a hold of what the offer was. And Jason went on ESPN and said, this is absurd. the Packers are literally talking about they want to make this guy their franchise back, and they offered him less money than they offered a guy who's not even a guaranteed starter. And what that did was it immediately, it made Packer fan base be like, what? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and normally Packer fan base is not in favor of, just in general, like fans are not really in general when it comes to money talk. But it changed the whole thing, and it publicly shamed the Packers. Within 24 hours, I had a legitimate deal, and
damn,
I think I got signed in 48 hours. I think.
Damn.
Oh, when there was no traction. So Jason knows that I am forever in his debt. Not a literal financial debt. I'm not giving you any money, Jason. Yeah. But
you send a Christmas card.
But he's one of those guys that from that point on time, I'm like, listen, I don't care what you ask. You got my I'll look out for you, boss.
That's fine. Like everyone's asking you, just giving generic responses. Will they ask the question? You're like, I'm glad you asked. And you're like, starting to go off on this tangent of a 20-minute answer.
No, but honestly, really, it actually built my friendship with him, where it was like, yo, he felt like he could, feel comfortable texting me, like whatever. And I told him, I was like, no, you got, from now on, like, you got it, dude. Like, I'm gonna look out for you and look out for me. So you clearly, and he said it. He said, I normally never get involved in contract stuff, and it helped a lot. So thank you.
There you go.
Forever, hey. Jason. You know where you stand in my heart.
There you go. Wildy coming in clutch. I love it. So heading over to next week, you had the Minnesota Vikings trade away Ngakoue over to the Ravens for a 3rd round and conditional 5th.
I like that though. I just thought it wasn't a good fit.
Well, here's the thing. If anything, they just went from a 2nd round pick to like a 3rd round pick. So they lost out on that. So I'm all good.
Yeah, I think that I think that they lost value in the pick, but I think that from a performance stance, I didn't see it getting better. Like I think the relationship, I don't think he wanted to be there. I think he saw some things that he was like, I don't really want to be there. And I just think that like sometimes you got to cut your losses. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and they were able to get something back. They only lost like a pick, but at least gone from a 2nd to a 3rd. But the Vikings, man, coming off a bye, and it's a divisional game, so like you never know with these things. But I mean, that defense is pretty damn horrendous. They got carved up by Rodgers in the first game. The defense, and now because Hunter, he had neck surgery, so he's out for the rest of the year. Now you got rid of Ngakoue. It's kind of like, what do you have on that team right now? You have a bunch of young corners who haven't done anything. Their safeties are still good, but it's slim pickings over there. And Kirk Cousins, 2 weeks ago throwing 3 interceptions. Things are not looking good. Justin Jefferson is looking like a stud. He's looking real good.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's definitely a playmaker, and he's a future star in this league. Hopefully not on that team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. Divisional games are always they're gonna fight, they're gonna scrap, but I foresee the Packers beating them pretty convincingly on all. And I think that these are the type of games where you want to set a tone for the division.
Yes.
Because you are on paper and on the field the better team, it's like you have to handily beat them. So they're going to go into this and say like, no, we're not going to like, this isn't a game where like, oh, let's just, we do our thing. Let's be methodical like we are, and let's take a jump. Like, yeah, we had that, anomaly game where we literally dropped the ball. We put a solid effort, but now we got to take that next jump. What are we, week 6 or week 7?
What for
right now? What week are we in?
This would be week 8.
Oh, okay, week 8. Okay, cool. So yes, halfway. We're hitting the halfway mark, and It's like, yeah, let's start putting together the type of ball on a next level, because what you want to do is you want to start to separate yourself as top tier teams.
Next week is going to be challenging, not just because of the Vikings, but then we turn around and on Thursday we're going against the 49ers. So and the 49ers are one of those teams too. We'll talk about this next week. One of those teams that, they've been decimated by injuries this year, but they're coming off back-to-back wins, sound wins, beating up the Rams. And
big wins. Like,
they beat the crap out of the Patriots. I mean, they benched Cam Newton. You know what I mean? Like they.
Yeah. No, they're putting together solid bodies of work, especially with what they have to be able to put on the field. So,
they're with the run game. I mean, Jimmy G threw 2 interceptions, but the run game, I think the guy had like 117 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. And looking ahead, I mean, you know, the Packers, if there's anywhere they can improve, it's in the run defense. So that game, I'm more hesitant about than the Vikings.
Yeah. No, yes, I said. So I thought this is why I think that like the Vikings, they need to put against product wise against the Vikings sets the stage and sets the tone, because they do need to. It shouldn't be close, and they need to be performing on all cylinders at this point. Like they need to be in sync with the passing game. Hopefully, Aaron Jones is able to do some things running the ball with that defense to really set up because they need to go into San Fran ready to go, because it's no matter what the record is, a team, you know, with it like a statement game, because you're going against a team that's going to be one of the competitors in the NFC. And it's funny, you know, the running back coach for the San Francisco 49ers, when I was with Washington for that month, a short stint, he was the running back coach, Coach Turner. And he's one of the all-time great running back coach. I actually just posted on Twitter something about an article about him. He's phenomenal. He worked with he was in Denver for all of those years when they had Portis, Terrell Davis, all those every running back in the world that ran for over 1,000 yards. He had my guy in Washington, the rookie, that ran for 1,600 yards as a rookie back. He's just been consistent. He was in Atlanta with Devontae. He's just been able to put product upon product, and that run scheme they have, where Shanahan has his zone scheme, he knows how to get guys to run the track and run the course. And if you do not play your key, like, he will gas you. It's one of those things that, like, they're guaranteed a certain amount of yards regardless.
Yeah.
So that's if you don't mess up. So if there's any sort of holes, I hope that the Packer defense is ready for that. You know, I don't like to be one of those guys to jump ahead by any means, but I hope they're just ready.
They're going to need to be. But listen, you know, we're going to sign off, and there's only one fact that matters now. The Bears lost, the Seahawks lost, and right now, the Green Bay Packers are number 1 in the NFC.
Number 1.
Number
1, standing alone. And it's funny, when I saw that thing that said, "Oh, the Bears are number 1 in the NFC," I like somewhat. I'm not gonna front. I was like one of those like giggles.
Yeah.
Like I giggled, like, oh god.
Yeah. Oh man, you know what? I'm glad that they were able to have it for 24 hours. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad they had their fun, but now Daddy's home, and we're staying. We're staying for some time. So that's all I'm going to say.
And I do expect for the Pack to stay there.
Oh yeah.
So I you know, I don't know. Who do we got after 49ers?
Please hold, your call is very important to us. We got the Jaguars.
Good. Okay.
The Colts. I don't really believe in the Colts a whole lot, but that could be a good game. Then you have the Bears. I think, again, their defense will keep them in it.
You know what's funny? I liked it. I liked the games that we have leading up to Chicago.
Yeah.
I feel good. You don't got to go up to past Chicago. I liked it. I like what we got.
You know, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little sad because, you know, we're coming halfway through the season already, and I'm already looking at this, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not ready for there not to be football. But I gotta live in the moment.
You're already going there. You're already going there.
It's because listen, it's all about the footballs, and when there's no footballs, it's a sad time in the Grossi household. But you know what? One final thing. And I know you will get a kick out of this. So we were talking about in the beginning of the show, all these like trade rumors that were going around, right? There was like Julio, AJ Green, John Ross, you know, all these different players potentially going to the Packers.
Yeah.
There was another name that hit my DMs, a struggling team and a good wide receiver on that struggling team.
Aha, I did see that. And that's actually the one that I said, maybe, like my man, I was thinking, not bad. Wouldn't be bad. And I know, did your heart sink or did you like feel like, did you feel a certain way?
I feel like, you know what? Maybe that's the universe. And it's just like.
Also like a melancholy, like, maybe, okay. Yeah.
See, there's a part of me that go, wow, this could be a great healing moment emotionally and psychologically.
Absolutely. For the two of you.
It could. Or this can continuously tear me apart. It could go either way, really.
Yeah. I think that I know what I would like. I'd like for the Packers to make you a part of that transaction if it happens. Maybe you're a part of the welcoming crew. I don't know how we do that.
With the pandemic and everything, it's really hard to travel nowadays. It's just, it's logistically, it's
virtual. We got virtual.
My internet's been acting up a lot.
Has it been acting up?
Like, I don't know if you saw it.
Little buffer. There you go. Little too much filming, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the lights, the light bulbs are expensive.
I know. I get it. The timing is interesting.
Yeah, it's just, I'd love to. Look at the time. Like, yeah, it's so late. Just trying to make that. Listen, but I will say, Green Bay Packers. We're getting to a point where we got about 3,000 people in all these live streams for the games every time. We're coming. We're doing some big time things here. I'm just saying.
They don't see the benefit on how the Packers can benefit from you.
I'm just saying. I'll call up Mark again and I'll be like, hey Mark, what are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing, Mark? That's the one. Like, what are we looking for? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
All right.
It's okay. It's fine. Mr. Ryan Grant, tell the people where they can find you.
Ryan.Grant on Instagram. Ryan Grant 25 all the way live. It's just Ryan Grant 25. But.
That's it. No, we're just gonna keep rattling off. Let's go.
Yeah.
Weekly drive.
Yeah.
Bar dive.
But are you doing anything for the upcoming holidays?
Holiday?
Is there a holiday coming in 2 weeks? 3 weeks? No, we're in October. Oh yeah, Halloween. My bad.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. No. COVID has ruined Halloween for me. So like I
forgot what month we're in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I had the same exact thing. I don't know what day it is, to be completely honest with you. The only reason I know it's Tuesday is is because I'm like, oh, all right, I have a lot of podcasts to record today. Like that's essentially what it is. No, I'm with you. It's been it's a blur. But Mr. Ryan Grant, you'll be shooting from a different locale next week.
Yeah, the next week we will be in Mexico.
There you go.
We will be in Mexico.
That'd be great. Be a great theme. It's gonna be
great. Theme with palm trees and hopefully sunny weather. They've had a little storm weather going on, but hopefully we're good to go.
I'm looking forward to it. Everybody can always find me at Tom Grossi Comedy and all that stuff. Tom Grossi, you know where to find me because you're watching it here. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's fracking Ryan Grant.
Always a pleasure, brother.
And as always, go Pack, go.